Hi, this is James from TesseracT, and today we're going to talk you through some of our gear. Okay, first off, this is one of my two main guitars. This is my first LA custom shop guitar which Ibanez very kindly made for me. I've had this since 2011. It's a real workhorse. I love it to pieces. It's based on the RGD 7-string fixed bridge guitar. Although it has a slightly longer neck. It's a 27-inch long scale length neck, and the woods are. This is a swamp ash. And it's got sort of a maple neck with I think it's a rosewood fingerboard but sprayed black. These amazing sort of self-trimming and locking machine heads. So basically I don't need any tools, I literally feed the string in, turn it on, cuts itself off, and it's the ultimate lazy person's guitar. So for a couple of years I was playing, I think it's the RGD 2777Z, I think. Near enough that. One thing I wasn't that keen on with that guitar was it had a floating trem, and I love whammy bars, they're loads of fun, but for what we do they're just impractical and they're a hassle, and on tour they're a lot of maintenance. So when I got the opportunity to get a custom shop guitar, a fixed bridge was the first thing that I wanted to go for. And this bridge has been great, I've had absolutely no problems with it, it's stable as anything. It's cool. You may notice I've got bits of tape. Before all the nerds pull me up and say I should have like nice foam things to put on there. I did have those, but I lost them. So but tape seems to do the job as well. And it's basically to stop some of like the high-end ring which you get off them, the resonance that comes off them when you're palm muting and playing heavy sort of stuff. You get the sort of meet sound, which is horrible, and that dampens that. So the electronics, I've got bare knuckle aftermath here and a Damasio PAF Pro, 3-way toggle switch, kill switch, tone, volume. And also it's coil tapped, so if I pull it out, these are on single coil it's a humbucker. Pretty much I have the volume and the tone the whole way up. If I want to kill the guitar, I usually just kill it with the kill switch, so when the song finishes I flick that off and it's off. Start song, flick, then start playing. Pickups wise, I mean, use both of these and use lots of combinations of single coil and humbucker. Lots of the kind of the more standard metally kind of tone, and the din 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 kind of sound is always like the humbucker on full bore on the bridge. Occasionally for some sort of like melodic sort of leady parts, we use that on the humbucker, but we also use this quite a lot on the single coil. On a lot of the Polaris album stuff, there's that tone. It's got that much more twangy kind of sound. It's very sharp. It really cuts through, unlike the humbucker, which is obviously naturally more muddy. I think there's one or two songs where I use this in single coil where I'm doing some lighter strumming and I'm just using it more for dynamics, just to thin out the sound. I'm using a Damasio 7-string 10 to 59s, and they're quite light, I guess, for the tuning we play in, which this guitar is in. It's in the tuning DAD-GAD, but dropped down to A, so it's kind of weird. But because of the guitar's scale length, it means that you still get some pretty good tension. It's still quite easy to play and sort of bounce off and be quite dynamic at the same time. Okay, so this is my most recent LA custom shop guitar. I've had this for a year now. One thing you'll notice is like the incredible green flame maple top. I still think it's the most beautiful guitar in the world. I absolutely love the look of this guitar. It's just amazing. And so thank you Ibanez again for making me such a great instrument. I guess the main differences are, I guess live, I use this, we play in principally two different tunings. So this one is, well, it's the same tuning as the other guitar, but in B flat rather than A. And for some other songs as well, we drop the B flat down to A flat, so we effectively have like a double drop tuning, which we use as well. The other differences are, this is actually, there's an older body, but with the maple top, and exactly the same bridge and the same machine heads. Okay, so the differences in the neck are, it's an ebony fingerboard, so that's a natural black finish rather than the sprayed black one on my other guitar. And it's a 5-piece neck, so I think it's maple with Wenge stripes, which you can actually see there. They pass the whole way through it there. The hardware is slightly different. These are bare knuckle Black Hawks. Again, they're coil tapped. I actually coil tapped them separately here, so this one is humbucker single coil and this one is humbucker single coil there. And three-way switch and a kill switch. Kind of live for me, it's not so much. They are slightly different. These are a bit sort of brighter and a bit tighter. You can get, it's really good for like the really tight start-stoppy kind of riffs. However, I think like live, I don't know if it makes a huge amount of difference. I think it's more, I kind of like the different tones for playing at home on the different guitars. Ackle will probably be different, and I think he's a bit more specific than I am. But I'll let him tell you about that. But yeah. Also, the older wood is super tight as well. I think that adds to the slightly different sound.
Hey, I'm Amos from TesseracT. I'm the bass player. So what I have here is a prototype that I've been working on with Jeff Kiesel. This is the second one, and just this morning I was finalizing some details for the final production model that you should be seeing sometime next year, hopefully. It's very simple bass. Well, aside from the surprisingly unusual lack of headstock, but what we have is a solid swamp ash body. Then on this one there's a chestnut top. It's chambered. We have a Music Man style pickup by Kiesel. Just the one volume knob on the top. Inside where the rest of the control knobs are, but I don't tend to play with the tone, so leave it as is. This is 18 volts, this one, so it's quite a high output bass. Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's got a different tone profile to a lot of modern basses. This is almost a more old school bass in that it's got a lot of mid-range, a lot of growl up in the high mids. So I find it really cuts through the dense audio quality, the dense audio forest of TesseracT. Well, I was working with, I was playing Warwicks before this. I had a Warwick FNA Jazzman, which I will still be using tonight, and a Warwick Thumb, which both wonderful basses. I just felt the need to find something new for touring, and managed to speak with Jeff at an opportune moment. The tone doesn't really change from not having a headstock, at least in my opinion. It is simply a different style of bass. I picked one up. I really liked the feel of it, and that's quite important to me, how it feels. And decided, cool, I'll give it a shot. I'll work with these guys for a few years, see how it goes, and it's turning out really well. The company itself is wonderful to communicate with, which is fantastically important for a touring musician. And they've been really nice. They've done things that you don't get as standard. There's a little scallop away here, taken away the top fret and added a little pocket, so to say, which is just for my thumb. So it goes through, hits the wood, and doesn't hit the fret there, which is nice, you know. It helps saving me and giving me a nice happy thumb in essence. Yeah, it's a slightly different process, obviously. From you've got the tuners down here instead of up here, and you've got your lock system down there. But aside from that, it's fairly easy to deal with, and it's quite quick to restring as well. The strings I'm using on this bass are D'Addario. They've got a few sets out now. Off the top of my head, I think this is ELX 160. But it's the type of strings that are designed primarily for slap. They're cool. They've got a nice scooped tone to them, which helps clear up the mud that you get with a lot of other bass strings. So yeah, it's quite nice. They've got a good balance of high end and low mids. I use this bass for the majority of the show. I reckon close to 70% of the songs now are in this tuning. There's only a few songs that are in, this is standard E with a drop A there. And the other tuning is A flat, and then the rest of the strings are scooted up. It's based around DADGAD tuning, but dropped down 2 steps. So the main goal for TesseracT is to take the studio to every venue. Try to give you as close a as close approximation of what we have done on have recorded for our albums in the live environment. This means that we decided to bring along our own stage box, which this is the we've got a Behringer X32 core here, which is essentially the brain of the larger console which we have in front of house. This is connected via a network cable to our front of house console, and then connected to that is a stage box where, as you can see, every signal we have comes in here, and all the outputs that are needed for our in-ear monitor mixes come out of here through the various mix ports and
Excellent. Let's get going.
this setup
Please,
here.
we're running out of time.
So this is our these are our transmitter system. This is an AKG SST4500.
10 minutes.
That basically just sends to a transmitter pack that we're all wearing, a receiver pack I should say, that we're all wearing, and all go into headphones. Above that you see Avalon U5 DI. This is my be-all and end-all when it comes to bass DI. As far as I'm concerned, if I only had one piece of gear, I'd be happy with this piece of gear. It's perfect, wonderful DI that takes away all the mud and shows you all your faults, so you have to be on your game constantly with it. So both guitarists don't use amps, as well as me, I don't use an amp. What you have here is fractal Axifex. In this particular instance we're using the Axifex Ultra. In the studio we have the Axifex 2, but we're able to travel around the world with these Ultras, and all they are preamps. I'm sure you guys are very familiar now with the concept of preamps instead of using amps. So we were just traveling around the world using various loaner versions of Mesa Boogie. Both guitarists had a rectifier, and that's essentially what we've gone on and modelled the signal from and tried to replicate with these, which is it's turning out very well. It's fantastic. We are also looking at using Kemper in the feature, fantastic amp modelling and cabs. So what we have up here is an RB Fireface UFX. This is basically a sound card that we have plugged into our laptop down here. We're running Cubase, and it's our sequencer track, so there's loads of stuff going on with TesseracT at all points. As you can see, at any one point there's 20 tracks. So we use this to control outputs, various things like that. There's 3 clicks, there's a sequencer, some BVs, and even some extra guitars here and there. So it's kind of like where all the glue comes from for the rest of TesseracT. Well, thanks a lot for listening to me and checking us out. If you want to see more about what we do, you can check us out on tesseractband.co.uk.